Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to smooth the skin and edit your photos with Photoshop. And if you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe, and also turn on notifications so YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video. So we are going to be editing this photo, and according to YouTube, close to 80% of people watching my videos don't subscribe to my channel. And if you are one of those, please just hit the subscribe button and support me by subscribing, or you hit the like button in order to promote my video. Now we are going to be editing this amazing photo. You can see this photo is looking good, but it has many blemishes and many pimples, and we want to fix it. In order to start editing a photo like this, all you have to do is to press Ctrl J on your keyboard. If you don't want to use Ctrl J on your keyboard, just right click on the background layer and select duplicate layer, and it's going to create a background copy. In order to start removing the blemishes, you can use different tools in Photoshop. You can use the spot healing brush tool, you can use the patch tool, you can use the healing brush tool. So if I want to use the spot healing brush tool, I can just use the spot healing brush tool and paint on the skin or apply it on the blemishes, and those pimples is just going to disappear. Remember, you have to select the spot healing brush tool and you left click on the blemishes. Just left click on the pimples and it's going to clean. This is the magic. Or you select the patch tool. Once you select the patch tool, just draw around the blemishes and drag it to the good area. Remember, you have to draw around the blemishes and drag it to the good area. Once you are done, let's move to this area and draw around this section and drag it. Let's also drag this area and remove these blemishes. And if we scroll down, you will see that there are some black things on our face. So I'm just going to use this patch tool to remove it, and also remove these bigger pimples on our face. And you can see that the background also has some stain. You can just draw around it and draw it like this. And you can use this patch tool to remove anything that you don't want from your image. I mean, to replace it with the good part of the image. For example, you want to remove this bad part from the image, but you want to replace it with this good part. All you have to do is draw around the bad part. You left click and hold, and then you move your mouse to the good part. And because of time, I'm going to be skipping this video to when I'm done removing all the blemishes, because if I want to remove all these blemishes, it's just going to take us time, and I don't want to waste your time. And as you can see, I'm done removing all the blemishes from the skin. And let's look at the before and the after. Let's zoom in the photo. You can see this is the before removing the blemishes and after removing the blemishes. Let's scroll down. Before removing the blemishes and after. But the skin is not looking good. The skin is still looking rough. Even if we remove all the pimples, the skin is not looking nice. Before we start smoothing the skin, we also want to remove these black things from her lips area. You can see these black things, these black spots on her face. We want to remove it. I think it is hair on her face. So what I'm just going to do is to select the clone stamp tool. You can use this clone stamp tool to replace the bad area with the good area. So what I'm just going to do is I will click on this clone stamp tool. Then I will hold Alt on my keyboard. Remember, you have to hold Alt on your keyboard. Then you left click on the good part of the skin. Hold Alt, left click on the good part. Then you move this mouse to the bad part and just paint on the bad part. It's going to clone the good part and replace the bad part. You can see what is happening to the skin, and that black thing has disappeared. This is the before and this is the after. If you are done with that area, we want to also adjust it. We want to fix this area also. And I'm almost done, but it's still giving me that black result. So I'm just going to left click on this lighter area. Then I will reduce the flow to be around 2 and increase the size of my clone stamp. And let's paint this area. Let's look at the before and the after. Let's also paint it like this. Remember, you have to be using your alt and left click on the good part that is closer to the bad part. Then you use your clone stamp tool to fix it or to replace that bad area with the good area. So I'm just going to use alt on my keyboard, hold alt, left click on this good part. Then we want to paint on the bad part. You can see what is happening to the skin. And I think the skin is now looking better. Now the next thing I want to do is to smooth the skin because I don't like the way the skin is looking. I want to adjust the skin and make it look better. So all you have to do is to press Ctrl J on your keyboard. When you press Ctrl J on your keyboard, you press Ctrl J again on your keyboard. Now the next thing you have to do is to rename this first layer to be 1 and rename the second layer 2. After you have done renaming it, turn off this layer that is 1. And once we turn off this first layer, remember you have to turn it off. Then you click on this second layer, which is the number 2. When you left click on it, just go to filter, look for blur, and go to Gaussian blur. For the Gaussian blur reduce, you have to select 5 for the Gaussian blur. And once you have selected 5, just hit enter on your keyboard or you click OK. And once you are done, we have to turn on this first layer again. And you will see that this blur effect is just going to disappear. You have to click on this first layer, which is the number 1. Just left click on it. And then you go to image and look for apply image. Then you left click on apply image and you see that your image is just going to change. So in this source, you have to just leave it because it is the name of the photo. Then for the layer, we have to select 2 for the layer, which is the low frequency details. So I'm just going to select 2 for this layer, leave the channel to be RGB. Then for the blending mode, we have to select subtract. So look for subtract and select it. For the opacity, it has to be 100. For the scale, leave the scale to be 2. And for the offset, you have to leave it to be 128. And once I am done, I'm just going to hit enter on my keyboard or click on OK. Change the blending mode option. To change the blending mode option, you have to click on this first layer, which is the layer 1. Then you go to this area. Look at it. This is the section. You have to click on it. And then you change the blending mode to linear light. And once you have seen this linear light, just click on it. The next thing you have to do is to click on this second layer. You have to left click on this layer 2 and you right click and you select convert to smart object. You should select this second layer again. Just left click on it and go to filter, blur. You select Gaussian blur. Now for this Gaussian blur reduce, we are going to increase the Gaussian blur around 40 or 50 because the amount of the Gaussian blur will determine the amount of effect it will have on the photo. If you have a high quality photo like mine, I will advise you that the Gaussian blur should be too much. You can increase it to 50 or 40. But if you are editing a low quality photo or a photo that was shot with a smartphone camera, you have to leave the Gaussian blur to be around 27 or you can leave it to be around 20. Now, if we leave our Gaussian blur to be around 27, for this our high quality portrait photo or this our high quality headshot, you will see that the skin is not looking nice. You can see the result. But if our photo is having a low quality and we select 27 for this Gaussian blur, you will see that it will give us black results on the skin. And if you are editing your photos and you are seeing black results, while applying frequency separation is because of your Gaussian blur radius is too much, but because my photo is having a very good quality, I'm going to leave this Gaussian blur radius to be around 66, and I'm just going to hit enter. And once I'm done, you will see that a smart filter layer will appear. Just left click on the smart filter layer and press Ctrl I on your keyboard. And once you press Ctrl I on your keyboard, you can be able to use your brush. Just left click on this brush tool. You can be able to use your brush to paint on the image and to make the skin to look better. Remember, if you want to apply this frequency separation on the skin, you have to left click on the skin and then you drag your mouse in order to make the skin look better. You can see what is happening to the skin. The skin is looking better. Let's look at the before and the after. This is the before and the after. You should also reduce the flow of your brush and increase the opacity. If the result is too much for your photo, you can be able to adjust this Gaussian blur at this layer. Double click on the Gaussian blur. It's just going to open the Gaussian blur reduce section for you. You can reduce this Gaussian blur, and if we reduce it, you'll see that the effect is just going to reduce, but the skin is not looking nice. So if you increase the Gaussian blur, you'll see that this effect is just going to increase and the skin will become more smooth and more better. So I'm just going to cancel it and let's keep applying it on the skin in order to make the skin look perfect. And once I'm done with this section of our skin, I'm just going to go to this next part and paint this area. Let's paint it a little bit at this area also. Once I'm done, I'm also going to paint under her eyes. Too much of editing on your photos can make your photo to look bad. But because this is a tutorial video, I'm going to be applying it too much on my photo. So you are going to see the amazing results. But when I'm editing my client's photo, I used to apply this frequency separation a little bit on the photo. So the photo is just going to look professional. If your brush is not working, you have to make sure that your foreground color is white. Make sure white is selected. If the foreground color is black, you'll be able to remove that frequency separation from your photo. You can see we can be able to remove it when the foreground color is black. But if the foreground color is white, you'll be able to add that effect back to your photo. Let's paint the lips a little bit, but I won't advise you to use this frequency separation on the lips. The lady is not my client, so I'm just using this photo for tutorial. So once I'm done, I'm also going to paint this area. You can see that we didn't remove the blemishes from this area, so we are going to do it later. And the skin is looking better. Once we are done with the face, we are going to go to her neck area and start painting on the neck. You can increase the flow if you like. You can increase it to 35. And let's remove this smoothing from the edges. And let's just paint her neck. Remember, don't paint the edges of your photo. You don't have to paint the edges, because if you paint the edges, it's just going to make it look bad. And also you have to reduce your flow and increase your opacity. So once we are done painting this area of her neck, I'm just going to go to this area of her body and let's also paint this side. And you can see what is happening to our photo. Our photo is now looking better. And if you have watched to this section of the video, I want to remind you to hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button in order to support me, so I will keep making new videos. Because the more likes I see on my video, the more I will be encouraged to make new video. I'm not like other people that will collect your money in order to teach you. I used to teach for free on YouTube, and I also have a course if you want to buy, but most of my tutorials are free and you can get it through my channel. And everything is now looking better. And if you are done, just left click on this first layer, hold Ctrl and Shift on your keyboard, left click on this layer below the smart filter layer, remember we press Ctrl J in order to create a new layer. So hold Ctrl and Shift and left click on this layer below the smart filter layer. Then you press Ctrl E on your keyboard to group that layer. Now let's look at the before and the after. You can see the results. We have been able to smooth the skin. This is the before and the after. Let's zoom the forehead, the before and the after. Let's zoom her neck. This is the before and the after. Everything is now looking better and nice. You can also reduce the opacity if you like, but I don't want to merge that frequency separation with this other layer because I want to reduce the amount of frequency separation. So I'm just going to press Ctrl Z to go back. Remember, you have to press Ctrl Z to go back. And what I'm going to do here is that I will click on this background copy. I'll press Ctrl J on my keyboard. Then I'm just going to merge all these layers together. I decided to create a new background copy at this area. And the next thing I want to do is to reduce the opacity. So I'm just going to leave it to be 90. And everything is now looking better. And if you are done with the frequency separation, remember I told you that I want to remove these blemishes from the skin again. I'm just going to select my patch tool and draw around these pimples on her face, and let's drag it down. Once I'm done, I also want to adjust this area because you can see that the frequency separation didn't apply at this area. So I'm just going to draw around using the patch tool. Once I draw around, I'm just going to drag it to the good area in order to remove all those light things on her face because we don't like it. So I'm just going to draw it and drag it to the good area. Remember, in order to remove the bad skin, you have to draw around the bad skin and then you drag the patch tool to the good areas of the skin. So we are done with this area of her skin. The next thing we want to do is to adjust the highlights and the shadows of our photo by clicking on the first layer. Then you left click on this area in order to bring out your create new fill or adjustment layer. So once you click on it, just go to curves and click on curves. And once you click on curves, you'll see that curves one layer is just going to show. Then you can go to this area again and select another curves, or you can left click on this first curves and press Ctrl J on your keyboard, and it's going to create a second curves. Now once two curves has been created, all you have to do is to rename the first curves to dodge, and you rename the second curve to burn. Once you are done renaming the first and the second curves, the next thing you have to do is to click on this symbol of the dodge, and you will see that this properties is just going to show. Left click on this symbol. Once you left click on it and the properties didn't show, just go to properties section and it's just going to open. If it didn't show, as in if you don't see the properties section, even if you are clicking it, all you have to do is to go to Windows and select properties, and it's just going to open. For this dodge, I'm going to increase the brightness of the photo, and let's collapse this area, and let's click on the burn. Let's click on this area, just double click on it and it will show. Then for the burn, we are going to reduce the brightness. You can see we have been able to reduce the brightness for the burn. Now the next thing you have to do is to click on this first dodge layer. When you click on this first dodge layer, just left click on it and press Ctrl I. Then you left click on this burn layer and press Ctrl plus I on your keyboard. CTRL or Command if you're using Mac, Command plus I, or Ctrl plus I if you are using Windows. So I'm just going to press Ctrl I, and everything is just going to come back to the way it was before. Select your burn, select your brush, reduce the flow to be 2 for the flow. Once you are done, reduce the size of the brush. Make sure your foreground color is white. Anytime you are using a layer mask, make sure your foreground color is white. All you have to do is to start applying the dodge and burn to the skin. You can see what is happening. you can start applying the burn to the skin. Remember, you have to burn the dark areas of the skin and you have to only dodge the light areas of the skin. So I'm just going to burn this dark area. You can see this nose. We want to give the nose a more good shape. So I'm just going to burn this area like this. And once I'm done, I'm also going to burn the lips a little bit. Let's just burn the lips a little bit. And we don't need to burn any other parts of the photo. I just want to burn this nose because the nose is looking flat. That is why I want to burn it. And once I'm done, let's look at the before and the after. Now you can reduce the opacity of the burn. Let's reduce it to be around 41. And once you are done with the burn, you can select your dodge. So for the dodge, we want to dodge the light areas of the skin. Because the photo has too much highlight, I don't need to apply this dodge on our photo. So I'm just going to reduce the opacity of the dodge layer. Let's leave the opacity to be around 24. And for the burn, we are going to leave the opacity to be around 41. Or let's leave it to be, I think 32 looks better. After I'm done with the dodge and burn layer, I want to group all these layers together apart from the background layer. So I'm just going to left click on the dodge layer. I will hold Ctrl and Shift on my keyboard and left click on this layer one, and all the layer will be selected. And once we have highlighted all this layer, I'm just going to press Ctrl E on my keyboard. This is the before and this is the after. This is the before and this is the after. You can see that our photo is now looking better. After I am done, I want to fix this backdrop because this background is not looking nice. Now, in order to quickly fix this backdrop, I'm just going to press Ctrl J on my keyboard. Then I will go to select, then subject. And once I've selected the background, I'm just going to go to create new adjustments area and select solid color. And if you select solid color, you'll see that the background is just going to automatically change. You can see the result. This is the before and this is the after. Now you can change the colors of this backdrop by double clicking on this symbol area. You can see this square stuff. Just left click on it twice. This area will open. You can be able to change the colors. You can be able to select different kind of colors. I want to select only the color of the backdrop. We don't want to select any external color. So what I'm just going to do is to turn off this our color fill layer. Then I will double click on this area to open my color picker. Then I'm going to sample the background color. I will just left click on the background color in order to get that background color. Click OK. Once we click OK, I will turn on this background that we just had. Once I turn it on, I will double click on this symbol. You can see, double click on this white thing or on this square here. Just left click on it twice and it will open. Once it has opened, then we are going to select this area. Just look at the left hand side of your screen. You are going to see this thing at this area. Then I'm just going to left click on it in order to get that background original color. So I'm just going to hit enter on my keyboard. You can see that we have been able to get the original background color and our photo is now looking better. This is before applying the backdrop or before changing the background and after fixing the colors of the background. So what I'm going to do now is to merge all these layers together apart from the background layer. So I'm just going to left click on the first layer, hold Ctrl and Shift on my keyboard, then left click on this dodge layer. It will highlight all these layers for us. Then I'll press Ctrl E to merge it. Now let's look at the before and the after. This is the before and the after for all the edits. This is the before and the after. This is the before and the after. Now that the photo is looking better, we are not yet done. We want to fix the eye because the eyes is looking dark and the eyes is not bright or the eyes is not white. Now, in order to quickly fix these eyes, all you have to do is to press Ctrl J on your keyboard. Then you go to your create new fill or adjustment layer. Then we are going to select curves. So once you select curves, I'm just going to increase the brightness. Then I'm going to go to create new fill or adjustments layer again. I'm going to select vibrance. So for this vibrance, I'm just going to select -80 for the saturation and -61 for the vibrance, or we can leave it to -100 and -100. Then I'm just going to collapse this area. The next thing I want to do is to go to the create new fill or adjustment layer again. I'm going to select photo filter. Now for this photo filter, I'm going to select cooling filter 80. Once you have selected cooling filter 80, I'm going to reduce the density to be +6, which is 6 for the density, and I'm going to collapse this area. Now the next thing you have to do is that you have to merge all these adjustment layers together. In order to do it, we want to merge these layers as a group. So you have to left click on this first one, hold Ctrl and Shift on your keyboard, or Command and Shift, hold it, and then you left click on the last adjustment layer. Then you press Ctrl G on your keyboard, which is to group it, or you right click on it and you select group from layer. So once you have selected group from layers, you can rename this layer to white. Just click OK. Left click on this background layer, then you hold Alt on your keyboard, Alt on your keyboard, then you left click on this layer mask and it's going to disappear. Now you select your brush. Once you select your brush, you zoom in your photo, reduce the size of your brush, increase the flow, and you start painting. So we want to paint on this red eye in order to make the eye look white. Once you are done, go to this second eye and you left click and paint the eyes, and the eyes is now looking better. So you can use this method to quickly fix the eyes and to make the eyes more white or more bright. And once we are done, you can see that the photo is now looking better. So I'm just going to reduce the opacity of the eye whitening layer. We want to leave the opacity to be around 43. I think 43 is better. Then I want to merge all these layers together apart from the background layer. Now the last thing I want to do in this photo is that I want to adjust the contrast, the highlight, the saturation, and many other things. And in order to do this, I have to open my camera raw filter. Now to open the camera raw filter, all you have to do is to press Ctrl J on your keyboard. Then you go to filter and select camera raw filter. You can see it. If you press Shift, Ctrl and A on your keyboard, the camera raw filter section is going to open. And when the camera raw filter section open, increase the contrast. So I'm just going to go to this exposure, increase the size of the exposure area, 52 for the shadows. Then for this black, we can increase the black area also to reduce this black on the neck, but we are just going to leave the black to be 0. Then let's go back to the exposure and leave the exposure to be 0. And let's go back to the shadows and increase the shadows to be, let's say, 64. The reason I'm increasing the shadows is because of the shadows in her neck. Her neck is looking black. That's why I'm increasing the shadows. Then for the contrast, I'm just going to increase the contrast to be +16. Then for the highlight, I'm going to reduce the highlight a little bit. Once I'm done, click on this light area to remove it. Then I'm going to go to color. Now for this color, I'm going to reduce the temperature a little bit, reduce the tint also to be -4. Remember, the temperature will make your photo to be warm or cool, and the tint will add purple or more green to your photo, and the vibrance will help you to increase the quality or the color of your photo. If you want to increase the color of your photo without spoiling the colors, you can use your vibrance. While the saturation will also increase the color of your photo, but it's very harsh. I used to advise people to use the vibrance instead of the saturation. Once I'm done with the color, let's click on effects. Now for this effect, we want to increase the texture of the skin. So I'm just going to go to texture and select 5 for the texture, 12 for the clarity. Let's also increase the texture a little bit to be around 8. Scroll down to color grading. For the mid-tone, we want to make the mid-tone to look a little bit orange. For the highlights, we want to make the highlights to look a little bit blue. For the shadows, we want to leave it like this. But if we change the color of the mid-tone, you'll see that the color of our photo is just going to change. So for the mid-tone, let's make the mid-tone to look blue. So I'm just going to make the mid-tone to look blue. Then for the shadows, we want to make the shadows to look more orange or more red. Then let's make the mid-tone to look blue a little bit. And for the highlight, let's leave it to look blue also. And I think we are done with this color grading section. And for the details, let's increase the sharpening to +13. And I think the photo is now looking better. And once we are done, I'm just going to click OK. And you can see the amazing results. And our photo is now looking more better. This is the before camera raw filter and after camera raw filter. So the last thing we want to do in this photo is to increase the brightness of the neck. But before we do it, we have to decrease the brightness of this area of our body. So I'm just going to select my lasso tool. Once I select it, I'm just going to press Ctrl J on my keyboard. Then let's draw around these lighter areas. So I'll just draw around these lighter areas and right click, select fader. For the fader, we are going to select 66 for the fader. And once I'm done, I'm just going to press Ctrl M on my keyboard and reduce the brightness a little bit. I'm also going to select this area and let's reduce the brightness for this area. So I'm just going to right click, then select fader. For the fader, I'm just going to select 44 or 55 is better. Once I'm done, I'm going to press Ctrl M and reduce the brightness for that part. Now, the reason I'm reducing the brightness for these two areas of the body is because I want to increase the brightness for the neck. So once I click on the quick selection tool, I'm just going to select this her body. You can see I didn't select the face, but I select the body. Then I'm just going to press Ctrl M on my keyboard. And once I've pressed Ctrl M, you will see that the curve section is just going to open. Remember, you have to press Ctrl plus M on your keyboard in order to open the curves, or you press Command and M. And once the curves has opened, we want to increase the brightness for this area. So I'm just going to increase the brightness a little bit. Let's increase it a little bit because we don't want to spoil the photo. And once we are done, I'm just going to click OK. Let's deselect that thing that we just did. Now let's look at the before and the after. And the neck is now looking more bright than before. But if you want to do more adjustments, you can select these dark areas again. Let's just select the dark areas. So I'm just going to select this dark area like this. Once I'm done, let's select this area like this also. And let's right click, fader. Then for the fader radius, I'm going to leave it at 77. And I'm just going to hit enter. Then I'm going to press Ctrl M on my keyboard and increase the brightness a little bit. A little bit. You don't have to increase it much. And I'm just going to hit OK. Now you can see that the photo is now looking better because we have been able to fix the darkness of the photo. So I'm just going to click on actions, or I'll go to Windows and select actions. And if I click on actions, it's just going to open. Now, if you don't have this action pack, you have to click the link in the description of this video and you'll be able to get it, or you contact me on Instagram and I'll be able to send you my payment details. And when you make payments, I will send the action pack to your email address and you'll be able to download it and install it into Photoshop. And after you install it into Photoshop, just go to this your quick selection tool. Now select around the skin, select all the body, just select all the subjects because we are going to be fixing the skin tone for all her skin. So once you select all the subjects, all you have to do is to left click on these skin tones, left click on the even skin tone. Just look for the even skin tone. And if you see the even skin tone, left click on it. Then you left click on play and you'll be able to play the even skin tone. Now, once you have played it, you will see that only the background was selected, only the background, like only the background has the skin tone. So you left click on this layer marks, press Ctrl I on your keyboard in order to move that skin tone to the subject instead of the background. And once we are done, I'm just going to use my brush and remove this skin tone from the lips. Remember, you have to make sure your foreground color is black in order to remove it from the lips. So I'm just going to increase my flow and let's remove this skin tone that we just did from the lips. and also remove it from the eyes. Let's remove it from this part and the lips. And everything is now looking better. The photo is now looking better. Let's merge all this together. This is the before and this is the after. If you want to add a little bit of colors to the photo, you can go to image, click on adjustment, then you go to photo filter, and you can add a little bit of cooling filter to your photo. So I'm just going to leave it to cooling filter 5. I think cooling filter 5 is better, and I'm just going to hit enter. Now let's look at the before and the after again. This is the before and the after, the before and the after, and we are done with this tutorial. Thank you for watching. If this video was very helpful to you, subscribe for more videos, turn on notifications so YouTube will notify you when I upload a new video, and leave a like to help the channel out.